Good morning all. I am Dr. P.N. Mallishwari and Associate Professor of ECE Department at Seshi Institute of Technology and Engineering. Now I would like to address about digital signal processing concept. And in our curriculum, our first unit describes introduction to digital signal processing, discrete time signals and sequences, classification of discrete time systems and stability of LTI system, solution of linear constant coefficient difference equations and the frequency domain representation of discrete time signals and systems, and finally the review of jet transforms and solution of difference equation using jet transform. Let us see about one by one. So in this first chapter we will discuss about introduction, okay, principles of principal operation of DSP, advantages and disadvantages of DSP. Let us see about the definition of digital signal processing. Signal processing is any operation that changes the characteristics of the signal. Characteristics means either amplitude, phase or frequency. And what is meant by system? System is a physical device that performs any operation on a signal. Signal is nothing but content or some information, or it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space or any other independent variable. And see, in this one, sinusoidal signal is one type of signal. So here that signal is continuously varying with the time and it is represented with some mathematical expression E s of t equal to sin omega t. So here t is an independent variable, and here system can be used to process that signal. So system input is one signal and after processing it produces an output. If the signal is analog signal, then that processing is called analog signal processing. If it is digital signal, that system is called digital signal processing system. And digital signal consists of two distinct levels. They are ones and zeros. And let us see about the analog signal processing system. So here this analog signal processing system requires analog input which is coming from a transducer or any communication signal. Transducer converts one form of energy into another form, and after processing the data, system produces an analog output. And whenever we are using digital signal processing system, it consists of input signal, anti-aliasing filter, sample and hold circuit, analog to digital filter, digital signal processor, D2A converter, reconstruction filter, and finally we will get the analog output. So here analog input is coming from transducer or any communication signal. And what is the main purpose of anti-aliasing filter? Anti-aliasing filter is a low pass filter which can be used to remove the high frequency noise components to get the band limited signal. And after getting low frequency signal, that signal is given to sample and hold circuit. The sample and hold circuit produces an output, an input to the A to D converter. Sample and hold circuit produces an input to A to D converter. This A to D converter converts analog input into digital output, and that digital output is processed by the digital signal processor. Here several types of processors are used, like large programmable computers or microprocessors or programmable digital signal processors like ADSP 26000 processor or TMS 320 C5550X processor, C54X processor. Various processors are there. After processing the data, that data is given to digital to analog converter. This digital to analog converter converts converts digital data into analog data. Then that analog data is given to reconstruction filter. That reconstruction filter is one of the low pass filter. That low pass filter converts, that low pass filter extract only the low frequency components and it rejects all other higher frequency components. Whenever we are using low pass filter, final output is low frequency signal and that is the analog output. And see, in the previous diagram, whenever we are using D to A converter, it gives some signal, but here some distortion is there. To remove that distortion, reconstruction filter is used. So it gives the smoothened signal. And let us see about the advantages of DSP. DSP has greater accuracy compared to ADSP. Analog signal processor, ASP. Okay, DSP has greater accuracy because whenever we are using analog signal processor, it is made up of with several analog components like filters, capacitors, resistors. Okay, some tolerance is also there in that one that affect on the accuracy, but in digital systems will use only multipliers, adders, memory elements like that. So that purpose, digital signal processor has greater accuracy compared to analog signal processor, and it is cheaper because whenever we are using analog components, cost is more high. Whenever we are using this digital signal processor, cost is less and we can easily store the data on magnetic disks. Okay, and by using DSP we can implement the sophisticated algorithms, and flexibility in configuration is also one of the major advantage. How? See, if we consider digital system, if there may be any failure in that one, simply we can reconfigure the program itself. But whenever we are using analog signal processor, if there may be any failure in the component, that may be replaced with another one. So here for that purpose we can easily configure the system, and DSP has a greater DSP has applicable for very low frequency signals like seismic signals. We can easily identify the seismic signals by using some digital devices, and time sharing is also allowed by the DSP processor. We can process the data in different time slots by using this time sharing concept. All these are the advantages of digital signal processor. And let us say about the limitations of DSP. First one is the system complexity. So whenever we are using this one, A to D and D to A converters are used. So for that purpose, the complexity of the system is also more, and bandwidth limited by sampling rate. See, if we want to reconstruct the signal, virginal signal from the sampled signal, simply we have to maintain the sampling frequency should be greater than or equal to 2 FM condition. In that condition we can recover the virginal signal only. Okay, so here the bandwidth is limited by sampling rate is also one of the limitation of DSP, and power consumption is also more in this one because thousands of transistors are used in digital signal processor chip, so it consumes more power. All these are the limitations of DSP. And let us say about the applications of DSP. So first one is telecommunication. for modulation and demodulation purpose, for voice application we can use this DSP, and consumer electronics like electronic music synthesizers, FM radios, so we can use this DSP, and instrumentation and control. Next, image processing like image segmentation, image restoration, image denoising. So for that purpose we can use DSP. And medicine, especially in computerized tomography image, MRI images and ultrasound images, so we can use this DSP. Next, speech processing, for speaker recognition, for speech identification we can use DSP. And similarly seismology, seismic applications, military applications, especially in radar and sonar applications we can use DSP. So all these are the advantages of DSP compared to analog signal processor. And let us see about the classification of discrete time system. What is meant by discrete time system? A signal which is discretized with time is called discrete time system, and these signals are represented by sequence of numbers. For example, see, the nth number in the sequence is represented with x of n. So here n indicates the time index, okay, n indicates the time index, x of n indicates the signal. And here let us see how to obtain the continuous time signal, how to obtain the discrete time signal from the continuous time signal. By using sampling theorem we can convert continuous time signal into discrete time signal. So these are the number of samples, and here the separation between each and every sample is nothing but the sampling interval, And let us see about the representation of discrete time signals. We can represent the discrete time signals in four ways. One is graphical representation, second one is functional representation, third one is tabular representation, and fourth one is sequence representation. Let us see about one by one. And here the signals are represented as a sequence of numbers called samples. So here how to represent the signal in terms of samples? See, this is n versus x of n. N indicates time index, x of n indicates its corresponding amplitude. So here, for example, this is n equal to 0, whose amplitude is this one, n equal to 1, whose amplitude is this one, n equal to 2, amplitude is this one. So here signal is represented in terms of samples. And let us see how to represent the functional representation x of n equal to 2 for n equal to 1, 3, 5. So it is represented in the form of a function, but this one is represented in the form of a graph. And function x of n equal to 1 for n equal to -1, -2, 4 and 7. Okay, that equal to 0 otherwise. So this is the functional representation of the discrete time signal. And let us see about the sequence representation. We can represent the previous graph in terms of sequence, like x of n equal to -2, -1, 3, 1, 0, 4, 2. So here this arrow mark indicates origin. Origin means starting position of that particular sequence. At origin amplitude is 1. Next, position x of 1. Okay, next sample x of 2. And this side x of -1, x of -2, like that. Okay, so this is the sequence representation. And tabular representation, we can arrange the time index and corresponding amplitude in the form of a table. For example, n equal to -2, whose amplitude is 0, n equal to -1, whose amplitude is 1, and so on. So this is the tabular representation. And let us see about the elementary sequences. So in general we have different types of standard signals or elementary signals. First one is unit sample sequence or impulse sequence. So how to represent unit sample sequence? That is represented with the delta of n. So delta of n equal to 1 for n equal to 0, that equal to 0 for n is not equal to 0. So impulse function exists only at n equal to 0. For remaining values of n, like delta of -1, delta of 1, delta of 2 equal to 0. Okay, so delta function exists only at 0. Okay, so for n equal to 0, value is 1. For remaining values of n, that function becomes 0. And how to represent the delayed unit impulse function? It is represented by delta of n minus k. Where this function exists, that function equal to 1 for n minus k equal to 0, means n equal to k, that equal to 0 for n is not equal to k. And next one is unit step sequence. So how to represent the unit step sequence? U of n equal to 1 for positive values of n. For negative values of n, function becomes 0, means for n equal to 0, u of 0 is 1, n equal to 1, u of 1 is 1, up to infinite, u of infinity is 1, but u of -1, u of -2, up to u of minus infinity equal to 0. So this is the representation of unit step sequence. And let us see how to represent the delayed unit step sequence. That is u of n minus k equal to 1 for positive values of n, means n greater than or equal to k, function becomes 1. For n less than k, function becomes 0. So here k units delay is there in the sequence. And let us say about the ramp sequence, unit ramp sequence. How to represent the unit ramp sequence? That is represented with the r of n. So r of n equal to n for positive values of n, that equal to 0 for negative values of n, means r of 0. R of 0 is 0. Okay, r of 0 is 0, r of 1 is 1, r of infinity is infinity. So simply this signal is linearly increasing curve. And how to represent the delayed unit ramp sequence? That is represented with r of n minus k, that value equal to n minus k for n greater than or equal to k. Okay, that equal to 0 for n less than k. And let us see about the exponential signal. So how to represent the exponential signal? X of n equal to a power n for all values of n, and a value lies between 0 and 1. For example, a is 1 by 2. So simply how to represent that one? See, a power n means 1 by 2 power n. n is 0. Simply 1 by 2 power 0. That value is 1. So at n equal to 0, amplitude 1. Next, at n equal to 1, amplitude becomes 1 by 2. At n equal to 2, amplitude becomes 1 by 2 whole square. So at n equal to infinity, 1 by 2 power infinity, that is 2 power minus infinity, means 0. So at n equal to infinity, function becomes 0. This is exponentially decaying curve. Exponentially decaying curve. So this is the exponential signal in discrete domain. And let us see about the sinusoidal sequence. So how to represent sinusoidal sequence? X of n equal to a into sin omega naught n. So here omega naught is the fundamental frequency, n is the time index, a is the amplitude of the signal. And see, for n equal to 0, simply signal becomes 0. For n equal to 1, sin omega naught of 1. For different values of omega naught, we can get different values. So here this representation is like our sinusoidal envelope. Okay, signal is discretized with time, but continuous in amplitude, continuous in amplitude. So that is the representation of sinusoidal sequence. And let us see about the representation of an arbitrary sequence. So how to represent the arbitrary sequence? See, arbitrary sequence is represented as a sum of unit impulses like x of n equal to a minus 2 delta of n plus 2 plus a 3 delta of n minus 3. This is one example. So here delta of n plus 2, that signal is, see, that signal exists at n plus 2 equal to 0, means n equal to minus 2. For n equal to minus 2, we will get del of 0. So that value is 1. Okay. So here whose amplitude is a minus 2. That's why at n equal to minus 2, I represented its amplitude. Similarly, where this delta of n minus 3 exists, at n equal to 3, delta of 0. Okay. 3 minus 3 and 0. Delta of 0 is 1. So here amplitude is A3. Okay. So where this function exists at n equal to 3, we have amplitude A. So here arbitrary sequence can be represented as a sum of scaled and delayed impulses. So this is scaled by A minus 2 and this is scaled by A3. Delayed impulse is del of n plus 2, del of n minus 3. Actually this is delayed function, this is advanced one. If shifting is towards right hand side, that is delayed signal. If shifting is towards left hand side, that is advanced signal. Okay. So this is the arbitrary sequence representation. And finally, how to represent it for different samples. See, x of n equal to summation of k equal to minus infinity to infinity x of k into del of n minus k. Okay. So this is the representation of arbitrary sequence. And let us see about the classification of discrete time signals. Discrete time signals. First one is causal and non-causal. Next symmetric and anti-symmetric. Next periodic and non-periodic. Next one energy and power signal. Okay. Let us see about one by one. When the signal is said to be causal signal, a signal x of n is said to be causal if x of n equal to 0 for n less than 0. N less than 0 means there is no value for negative values of n. Okay, there is no value for negative values of n. Best example for causal signal is x of n equal to a power n u of n. I already told you that this unit step signal exists only for positive values of n. Okay. And see about the second example. So here arrow mark indicates origin, means starting position. Okay. So this is the 0th sample and this is the first sample, second sample, third sample. So here signal is started from n equal to 0. Okay, and it is moving like n equal to 1, 2, 3 like that. So this is the causal signal. There is no value for negative values of n, means for x of minus 1 is 0. Okay, x of minus 2 equal to 0 and so on. Okay, so this is the best example for causal signal. And let us see about the non-causal or anti-causal signal. Best example, a power n u of minus n minus 1. See why this one is called non-causal. U of minus n minus 1 equal to 1 for minus 1 minus n minus 1 less than or equal to 0 means minus of n plus 1 less than or equal to 0 means n plus 1 less than or equal to greater than or equal to 0 means n value greater than or equal to minus 1. For n value, 1 minute, where this unit step signal exists Actually unit step signal exists only for positive values of n. Positive values of n. But u of minus n minus 1 that equal to 1 for this time index should be greater than or equal to 0. Time index should be greater than or equal to 0. So if we factor out negative sign, simply we'll get minus of n plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. If we remove this sign, simply this symbol may be changed. So what about n value less than or equal to minus 1? Means minus 1, minus 2 up to minus infinity. Okay, so u of minus n minus 1 equal to 1 for n less than or equal to minus 1. Means this function exists for n equal to minus 1, n equal to minus 2, n equal to minus 3 up to minus infinity. Okay, so this is non-causal signal. There is no value for positive values of n. And similarly another example, x of n equal to 1, 2, 1, 2. So here this arrow mark indicates origin, means 0th sample. Towards left hand side this is minus 1th sample. Towards right hand side first sample and second sample. So here this is the combination of both positive values of n and negative values of n. Signal is there for positive values of n and negative values of n. So this is non-causal because signal exists for negative values of n. Okay, so these are the best examples for causal and non-causal signals. Remember one thing, if any signal consists of contains u of n, if any signal contains u of n, that signal is always causal. If any signal contains u of minus n minus 1, then that is non-causal. And let us see about the next classification of signal, symmetric and anti-symmetric. Another name of symmetric is called even signal, and another name of anti-symmetric is called odd signal. So when the signal is said to be an even signal, if x of minus n equal to minus x of n, then the signal is called an even signal. Best example for even signal is x of n equal to cos omega n. Okay, because see cos omega of minus n equal to cos of minus theta, cos theta. So simply this is x of n, means x of minus n equal to x of n, then that signal is called cos signal. If x of minus n equal to minus x of n, then that signal is called an odd signal. Odd signal means x of n equal to sin omega n is the best example. See, if we replace n by minus n, then simply sin of minus theta is minus sin theta, that is minus x of n. So sin is the best example for odd signal because x of minus n equal to minus x of n condition is satisfied. Okay, and here if we consider any signal that is the combination of both even and odd component. Okay, even and odd component. For example, if we take 1 to 10 numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 are the odd numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are the even numbers. So if we consider any signal that is the combination of both even and odd component, but how to extract the even component and odd component alone? See, there is one small derivation. See, here the signal is the combination of both even component xe of n and odd component x naught of n. If we replace n by minus n, simply we will get x of minus n equal to x e of minus n plus x naught of minus n. So for an even component, x e of minus n equal to x e of n. For odd component, x naught of minus n equal to minus x naught of n. Okay. Now we can solve these two equations we can solve these two equations. Then see, by adding those two equations we'll get 2xe of n. How? By adding those two equations we'll get x naught of n. So this is x of minus n equal to xe of n minus x naught of n. If we add these two equations, simply these two are cancelled, then we'll get 2xe of n equal to x of n plus x of minus n. Then xe of n equal to half of x of n plus x of minus n, half of x of n plus x of minus n. Okay, and if we subtract those two things, simply we'll get x naught of n. So x naught of n equal to half of x of n minus x of minus n. Okay, so this is the odd component and this is the even component. Okay, if we combine these two components, then we'll get the same signal x of n. So in this manner we can resolve the given signal in terms of even and odd components. Okay, let us see about one more important topic, periodic and non-periodic signal. When the signal is said to be periodic signal, see, if a signal satisfies this condition, like x of n plus capital N equal to x of n for all values of n, then that signal is called periodic. Means a signal which repeats a definite pattern for every n number of samples, and here capital N is the fundamental time period. What is meant by the fundamental time period? It is the smallest value of n, and see in this example, at minus 4th position amplitude 4, okay, at minus 3 position amplitude 3, at minus 2 position amplitude 2, at minus 1th position amplitude 1. So sequence is 4, 3, 2, 1. That is repeated for every 4 samples. So this is the best example for periodic sequence. But in this one, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4 sequence is there. So this is not a definite pattern. So the first sequence is not repeated for every 4 samples. So this is one of the examples of non-periodic or aperiodic signal. And let us see how to calculate the fundamental time period n equal to 2 pi by omega naught into small m. So here small m is an integer value, omega naught is the fundamental frequency. Here we need to choose the smallest value of m to make capital N as an integer. Means for what value of small m, n becomes an integer. Okay, we have to choose that one. For example, see in this one omega naught is 6 pi by 13. Okay, and let us see about capital N. Capital N equal to 2 pi by omega naught. Capital N equal to 2 pi by omega naught into one integer value m. 2 pi by our omega naught is 6 pi by 13 into m. Okay, this pi cancelled. Simply 2 1s are 2 3s are, means 13 by 3 into m. For example, m equal to 1, simply we'll get 13 by 3. This is not an integer. M equal to 2, 26 by 3, not an integer. If m equal to 3, simply we'll get 13 by 3 into 3. So we'll get 13. So this is an integer. Okay. So here we have to choose the smallest value of m to make capital N as an integer. Okay. In this manner we can calculate the fundamental time period. And I want to explain one small example in this one. See, here if the signal is one signal is given, this is the procedure to calculate the fundamental time period. But if the given signal is the sum of two signals, if the given signal is the sum of two signals, then what is the condition for periodicity? What is the condition? If n1 by n2, n1 is the first signal time period, n2 is the second signal time period, means the given signal is the combination of two signals, x1 of n and x2 of n. First signal fundamental time period n1, second signal fundamental time period n2. Okay, if n1 by n2 is a rational number or ratio of two integers, then the signal is called periodic, otherwise non-periodic. Okay, so in this example, see, the given signal is x of n equal to cos pi by 3n plus cos 3 pi by 4n. So in this one, omega 1 equal to pi by 3 and omega 2 equal to 3 pi by 4. Now you can calculate n1. n1 equal to 2 pi by omega 1 into 1 integer m, and n2 equal to 2 pi by omega 2 into integer value n. So here you can substitute that value, 2 pi by 3 into m. Pi cancel, this is 6m. Similarly in this one, 2 pi by omega 2, that is 3 pi by 4 into n. Pi cancel, 2, okay, this is 8 by 3 into m. So here we need to choose the smallest value of m to make n1 and n2 or integers. In this one, m equal to 1, n1 becomes 6. Okay, if m equal to 1, n1 becomes 6, that is integer. Similarly, in this one, if n equal to 3, n2 becomes an integer, that is 8 by 3 into 3 equal to 8. Now you can take the ratio, that is n1 by n2, 6 by 8, that equal to 3 by 4, ratio of two integers. So this signal is periodic. Okay, this signal is periodic. Then how to calculate the fundamental time period? How to calculate fundamental time period n equal to, simply you can take that ratio 3 by 4 equal to n1 by n2. You can take cross multiplication, then 3n2 equal to 4n1, that value is equivalent to n. So here n value. What about our n1 value? n1 is 6. Okay, n1 is 6. So 3 into 6, or n2. What about n2? See, our n2 value is 8. Okay, n2 value is 8. So simply 3 into 8, this is 4 into 6. So simply 24. 3 8s are 24. Okay, so 24 seconds is the fundamental time period. For every 24 seconds, the same pattern is repeated. So this is the concept of periodic and non-periodic signal. And the last topic in this classification, energy and power. Okay, and let us see how to define the energy. What is meant by energy? Energy is nothing but it is the capability to do some work, and power means energy by time is called power. So here how to define the energy? Energy equal to summation of n equal to minus infinity to infinity modulus of x of n whole square, and average power of the discrete time signal is P equal to limit n tends to infinity 1 by 2n plus 1 summation of n equal to minus n to n modulus of x of n whole square. these are the formulas, okay, to calculate energy and power. But when the signal is said to be an energy signal, see, if the energy of the given signal is finite and power must be 0, then the signal is called an energy signal. E is finite and power must be 0. And if energy is infinite and power is finite, then the signal is called a power signal. If both are infinite, then the signal is neither energy nor a power signal. So you need to remember those three conditions. Condition for energy signal, E is finite and power is 0. Condition for power signal, E is infinite and power must be 0. Condition for neither energy nor a power signal is E is infinite and P is infinite. Let us see about one problem, then I'll conclude this one. Okay. See, the given signal x of n equal to 1 by 3 power n u of n. Let us see how to calculate the energy. Simply you can substitute that value in the formula. Okay, our formula E equal to summation of n equal to minus infinity to infinity modulus of x of n whole square. So our signal is 1 by 3 power n u of n. U of n is included. Okay, so how to simplify this one? See, summation of n equal to minus infinity to infinity 1 by 3 power n u of n whole square. 1 by 3 power n u of n whole square. So here the summation can be split into two parts. One is n equal to minus infinity to minus 1 and another one is n equal to 0 to infinity. Sir, I need blank page. See, our example is x of n equal to 1 by 3 power n u of n. Let us see how to calculate the energy. E equal to summation of n equal to minus infinity to infinity modulus of x of n whole square. So our x of n is 1 by 3 power n u of n whole square. But this signal can be split into two parts, means all negative values of n as well as all positive values of n. So for negative values of n, u of n is 0. Okay, for positive values of n, u of n is 1. U of n is 1. So simply we'll get 1 by 3 power n whole square. Okay, 0 into something 0, and for positive values of n, see 1 by 3 power n whole square means 1 by 9 power n. And how to simplify this? See, there is one small formula. Summation of n equal to 0 to infinity a power n is 1 by 1 minus a if a value less than 1 condition, that equal to infinity if a value greater than 1 condition. So simply you can apply that formula, then we'll get 1 by 1 minus 1 by 9, that equal to 1 by 8 by 9 and 9 by 8. So this is finite value. This is finite value, 9 by 8 joules. So here E equal to finite. E equal to finite. But we need to calculate the power also. We need to calculate the power also. Let us see how to calculate the power. See, power P equal to limit n tends to infinity 1 by 2n plus 1 summation of n equal to minus n to n 1 by 3 power n u of n whole square. Okay, so here we can split the data into two parts. One is for negative values of n and another one for positive values of n. Okay, for negative values of n, simply we'll write n equal to minus n to minus 1. Between this interval u of n 0 Okay. Similarly, for positive values of n, u of n becomes 1. So 1 by 3 power n whole square. And let us see how to simplify this one. See, limit n tends to infinity, 1 by 2n plus 1. For negative values of n, this function becomes 0. For positive values of n means n equal 0 to n. 1 by 3 power n whole square means 1 by 9 power n. Let us see how to simplify this one. Given number of terms are n terms. Okay. So, simply we can write 1 minus 1 by 9 power n plus 1 by 1 minus 1 by 9. In expansion we have n plus 1 terms. In expansion we have n plus 1 terms because summation of n equal 0 to n a power n equal to 1 minus a power n plus 1 by 1 minus a if a value less than 1. If a value greater than 1, simply we will get a power n plus 1 minus 1 by a minus 1 formula. Okay. So, here a is 1 by 9, that is less than 1. Simply I used this formula. And see, n tends to infinity. Limit n tends to infinity means 1 by infinity, 1 minus 1 by 9 power infinity by this value 8 by 9. Okay. 1 by 9 means 9 power minus infinity. Something power minus infinity is 0. So, 1 minus 0, 1. This value is 1 by infinity into 9 by 8. Simply 1 by infinity is 0. So, here power 0. Okay. Energy is finite value. So, the given signal is an energy signal. For an energy signal, E is finite and power must be 0. So, I proved that one, and this signal is an energy signal. Okay. So, up to this classification of signals is over.